My first encounter with Duke came through Yale, and my graduate advisor said, I would like for you to go to Duke University to do some evaluations of their African collection. This would have been in the early 1980s. I have memories of flying in and seeing all this green and the smell of tobacco.
I joined the faculty in the physics department at Duke in 1982. Oh, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yes, 1985. I personally became interested in nuclear physics because I'm curious about the structure of matter, nuclear physics. Zoomed into matter at a distance scale roughly 1 million times smaller than what we're used to seeing with normal matter. I'm trying to get this guy to change channels and he's not cooperating.
The National Museum of Art was created in 2005. So there's a kind of an energy and an excitement and a sense of purpose and a freedom to think about things in interesting and fresh ways. And one of the foci of the National Museum of Art has been art of the African diaspora, which is my specialty.
People like me, I call myself an experimentalist because we make measurements to understand nature. We choose to probe it with different types of particles. My specialty is to use neutrons. Neutrons are electrically neutral, and they interact primarily through what we call the strong nuclear force.
Well, part of the challenge of Archibald Motley is that early scholarship...
I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and one of the really important figures in modern art in Chicago was Archibald Motley, an artist who was born in New Orleans, who studied at the Art Institute of Chicago, who was working during the Jazz Age Chicago, Jazz Age of Paris, and really exciting works that really speak to the rhythm and energy of life in the 20s and 30s and 40s. I proposed to the Nasher the idea of doing an Archibald Motley exhibition. I think it was a very successful exhibition. It moved to Texas, it moved to Los Angeles, it went to Chicago, and it ended up at the Whitney Museum of American Art. Archibald Motley's family gave a work in honor of my wife and I to the museum. So talk about an incredible gift. I think that was kind of a big deal.
When I first joined the physics department, I was the only African-American faculty member. For me, race is always an overt physical reality. In the physics department, I don't ever truly remember having situations where I felt uncomfortable because of my race. I suspect that many of my colleagues, as I do, check our political and religious views before coming into the laboratory and focus on the work at hand. It takes all of my mental focus to make an experiment work. And as an experimental scientist, the goal of whether you're a nuclear physicist or condensed matter physicist or solid state physicist is to ask a question about nature and to understand how we can use technology and instrumentation to answer that question. And that question is buried in a sea of distractions. Our job is to design an experiment that pulls that small signal out of the background of a lot of noise. And that's where everybody in the room is focused. And if they're not, they shouldn't be in the room.
When I got the offer to come to Duke, I was part of what's been called the Black Faculty Initiative. And there have been several of these initiatives from the 1980s on, where there was a real interest on the part of the university and the administration to diversify the faculty, in particular with Black faculty. Some departments were very eager to do that, and other departments perhaps weren't as eager. So I feel fortunate in the sense that I was a part of a department that they took that call and they immediately said, we want to make this department reflect more of the diversity of our fields and of who we are as Americans. Let's be real. There have been moments throughout my life where people, for whatever reason, have issues with you or don't feel that you're up to snuff or feel that what you're doing doesn't matter in the larger picture of things. You have to constantly remind yourself that you have a purpose to make a contribution, to impart knowledge, to make the world a better place. Oh, yes, I've had a lot of those moments. But I'll tell you, when I compare those moments to the moments where things have gone well, it kind of balances out.
Oh, that's a leak rate. The students who are working with me on neutron-induced experiments that we're conducting in the tandem lab here, these are part of my After 5 group. These are the ones we get together and we brainstorm either about how to set up detectors or electronics to reduce the backgrounds or how to analyze the data. All of these are the types of issues that are open for debate and discussion, both before and after 5.
I have a sabbatical this fall in Rome. While I'm in Rome, I want to look at one artist in particular, Anomaly Lewis. She was born in upstate New York, but by the 1860s, she finds her way to Italy, where she makes these remarkable sculptures. She's working in marble, and given Rome has all these fantastic quarries, this is the kind of destination for artists who think big.
Being a member of the Duke faculty for 32 years, I've seen us grow in how we respond and deal with social issues, in particular issues of race. It's been my observation that we're on a positive slope. Could the slope be steeper? Perhaps. But I am encouraged that the slope is positive. As a Southerner, I believe most dishes come out better if they're cooked slow.